Check podcasts.
The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Calen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Welcome to the Bread and Butter Podcast. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing great. Calen, how are you doing?
I'm
I wasn't
doing
sure
all right.
if we were really starting or not. Are we really starting?
I think we started.
Is this live?
We're live.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
Callers, please call in.
Yeah.
I think we should do a live one and have callers.
We could probably figure that out.
I don't know.
We took our show on the road.
We did. So that
Yeah.
was one step closer to being live.
Yeah, exactly.
Or one step further away from being live.
I guess
I don't know.
we were live doing the show,
That's how you can hear our voices.
Yeah.
If we were not live.
but not in real time.
not all live.
Yeah. Like we'd have to do a live stream. I don't know that. Yeah.
The only live stream I want is my stream of coffee going down my throat.
You know what I love about your coffee, Sam?
Is
everything.
Because it's not gross.
Yeah, it's not. It's perfect acidity. You know, like there's a few out there that I find a little bit too acidic.
Yeah, there's real movement for what is usually underdeveloped coffee in the roasting period. So you don't caramelize all the sugar in the coffee, making it as sweet. And that sweetness, that perceived sweetness, is there to balance out the natural acids that are in the coffee. So
right.
if you don't have the sweetness, then all you're tasting is the acids.
Yeah, which is, so would that be overcooked to a degree?
It'd be undercooked. It'd be underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And you can do that to create what is actually a really nice coffee sometimes.
Yeah.
But not all acids are good.
You're right. Yeah.
There's some beautiful acids
Yeah.
you can get in coffees, like blackberry and tomato acid.
Yeah.
And the Kenyan is really nice. And
I guess it's a taste preference too. Like everybody's got their own palate and what they grow up with. Like I knew, I didn't start drinking coffee till I was 30. And then as I developed my taste for it, you know, obviously having, you know, like the kind of box store coffee, like Starbucks or whatever, is not an indicator of what coffee is. Just like if you're buying box wine, for example, or something, it maybe not be, even though some box wine is pretty good now. But you're not really drinking curated coffee. You're drinking a high volume, you know, it's kind of like Tim Hortons.
yeah, it's put out to a point where it tastes the same all the time.
Yeah,
and the only way to get that is by burning it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's the flavor that people can associate with like a Starbucks coffee, and that's why it always tastes the same, because it's always slightly bitter because it's slightly burnt. Yeah, it's not charred or burnt.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's to
technique.
the point where you're taking away all the character of the coffee itself. All the terroir and all the nuance that's really in there, and you're just masking it so it's always the same. Yeah, it's a technique.
Yeah, for that mass production.
When you're
volume.
making that much coffee, you almost have to do that
just for consistency. Otherwise, your batches would be inconsistent. And the different regions would be tasting differently, which would affect the overall vibe.
Yeah, and even as a coffee roaster, if I'm buying the same coffee all the time, from the same plantation, from the same grower doing the same processing, it's an agricultural product, so it's going to vary. And it's going to change always. So that's why a company like Starbucks will always make their coffee
do it that way
more.
Do you find that your beans, like the house blend that you have,
it's our Hudson is
the house blend, right? So, do you find that has changed over the years?
Yeah, it's always changing a little bit.
Are you adjusting how you're roasting it based on those changes? Like, do you have a set taste profile that you try to hit?
Yeah, and that's the key, is a taste profile. You can't just go by carrying the same beans all the time, because like I just said, it's an agricultural product that changes regularly. So I aim for a taste profile, and I try to hit it within like 10% either way. Yeah. And it's been like that for
So if I was
years.
like a connoisseur of coffee or very, coffee master, so to speak, where you're actually tasting different and pulling all those notes, and would I have showed up at your door in 1999 and then come 2025 and been like, man, this coffee has changed so much over the years? Or we'd be like, oh, these are the notes you're hitting. This is kind of similar. Like,
you might say it's changed over the last 25 years. However, fairly recently, I have really made a conscious effort to go back and make my coffee taste like it did 25 years ago.
Interesting.
Because that's when I loved coffee the most.
Yeah.
So
has your taste changed though?
Yeah, of course. My taste has changed.
That would grow and adapt.
Develop.
Develop.
I can appreciate all different sorts of coffee. I can appreciate the underdeveloped, really acidy coffees. I can appreciate something really dark and rich if it's like a Sumatran that can handle that kind of heat. But I also just like what I like too.
Yeah.
And I like sweet, full-bodied coffee.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's like in your business, that's what you would be doing because it's what you like and it's your business.
Yeah, it's a reflection of my
your
taste.
Yeah.
Because if I was trying to please everybody all the time,
you'd have no identity.
I wouldn't have an identity. And it would be crazy would be my identity. Because you can't please everybody all the time.
And trust me, Sam, knowing you as long as I've known you, you were crazy.
I can barely please you.
Yeah, exactly. You can't please me, man. Although I'm never on time, so that's the other.
But you are, because we just set our watches to Calen time.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I like that. The world revolves.
It's like northern time or island time.
Ah, yes. Well,
it'd
be North Korea time if my wife had her choice, because she'd execute me.
Hey, I got a trivia question. How many time zones does China have?
I think I know the answer to this, and I think it's 8 or 7, something like that.
You would assume, because it's so big, there's one time zone.
Oh,
it's all Beijing time.
Oh, I like that, actually.
It's kind of crazy, because when it's 12 o'clock in Beijing on the western side of China.
Yeah. I should know that, because I've been all over China, but north south, I guess. So
that would be all the same
well, even
time.
if you think of the distance between Shanghai and Beijing, like that could conceivably be in the same time zone.
Yeah.
If you look at Calgary and Vancouver, for example, or Alberta or Calgary and Saskatoon or whatever.
It would be like if Canada only had one time zone.
That would be crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like St. John's being 12 o'clock and then Victoria being 12 o'clock at the same time. No, we'd be in different times of the day, man.
Yeah. Well, and even I had this, we're getting some work done at our house, and I asked my buddy who's the construction guy, and I'm like, because the time shifted back. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, do you like this shift back? He goes, I do, because I'm like, well, don't you want it to be brighter in the morning? Like, it's 8 in the morning, it's still dark out. And he's like, no, because it's the end of the day that it matters. Like, I need the light at the end of the day. So otherwise I would be starting, what would be, we get dark at like 3 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, so you lose that end of time.
Yeah.
Which I found kind of interesting, because I always think it's kind of archaic, but.
Well, he should own a coffee shop, and then it wouldn't matter, because I come to work, it's dark, and I go home when it's dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter what time of year it is.
Yeah. Well, burger joint too, that's typically people are there at 9 a.m. till like 9 p.m.
I had snow on my car this morning. Not much. And it was
really
brief. Yeah.
In Machosen.
Yeah. It was weird.
Wow. The temperature seems like, I don't know what the temperature is today, but it does seem.
It was warm. It was warm this morning, but it just kind of came out of the sky. There was so much wind and stormy weather this morning.
I thought it was going to be windier here. But interesting. This is an interesting discussion about coffee. I know we interviewed you this year. Was there any other guests that we had this year that kind of stood out to you?
Oh, we had,
as our year-end wrap-up?
As our year-end wrap-up, we had some great guests.
Yeah, there were some really, really interesting ones. Andrew Moyer, the bee,
Was that this year?
It was this year. Well, the season.
I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been kind of in the earlier part of the season. I thought that whole bee discussion was super interesting and really navigates or like intersects with food security and that kind of component. So
Sure does.
I talk about bees a lot, actually, which having a little bit more knowledge of it is better because it informs those discussions a bit. But it's amazing how many people talk about bees, that are in farming.
Well, it's
and
so
the pollinator
important,
component.
Yeah, they are a pollinator.
Yeah. Which I thought was
and they
fascinating.
make golden honey. Oh my goodness.
They do. I'm not a big honey fan.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've had honey before, but it kind of has a certain flavor for me that I don't really.
Is it like a tang or something in it?
Yeah, there's just an earthiness or something. I don't know. Maybe
Is it the fact that it's bee puke?
Yeah, that's exactly. I didn't know it was beef.
That's the royal jelly.
Oh my God!
You throw up.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Is there any standouts for you or topics that we covered that are fascinating to you, or?
I really like the frozen food that we just did, and I told
Urban Forage and Michael Williams. Yeah,
I told a couple people about that, and they jumped right on it immediately.
Yeah, no, I think I haven't ordered any yet, but I will. We're going away for January, so we're kind of. And I actually have a turkey that I took out of the freezer from last year that I still have to cook because it's been in the fridge. Like it's probably.
It's been in the fridge for a year?
No, I had it frozen, but I took it out because I was going to cook it this weekend.
Oh, okay.
And it's now in the fridge, but now it's thawed, and
you got to do something with it.
You got to do something with it because...
Are you going to cut it in half and cook it out splayed like that? Or how do you cook your turkey?
I don't know. I don't really cook turkey, so... There's a lot to do.
You
deep fry
for the
it.
holidays usually, or
we have. We don't really do a lot. Well, I guess we do have a Boxing Day sort of dinner. So my wife's stepdaughter likes to cook, so she prepares the turkey or has prepared the turkey the last 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes we've brought food in, and sometimes we've cooked other stuff. But I'm gonna cook this turkey. I need to cook it. I probably have to cook it tomorrow, but I really don't know what I'm doing. So, but I have experience. It's ingrained in me.
People in your life that you could.
Yeah, I could actually just probably go, hey, here's a turkey. Can you cook it?
Like call out for a lifeline.
Yeah. I could actually I could probably just bring it to our Gateway store, cook it in our cookie oven,
and just deep fry it.
Oh, yeah, that's
in pieces maybe in your fryer.
Yeah, you need you'd have to set up a big pot. I had a friend that did a couple years in a row, 2 or 3 years in a row, that deep fried a turkey. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But there's some danger in it.
There's a lot of danger in it.
Oil and open flame.
Yeah, and a wet bird maybe. And
yeah.
Like, oh man, I've seen some crazy videos. Let me tell you.
Well,
my TikTok this time of year
I know.
is full of exploding turkeys.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it. But yeah.
We always used to, growing up, I remember my mom putting the turkey in a paper bag and like drenching the paper bag in either oil or melted butter maybe and cooking it in the paper bag.
Oh, interesting.
And so it kind of traps some moisture in there. And I haven't seen anyone else really do that.
No, I guess there's a lot of these old sort of family tricks and methods to cooking, turkeys, or how their parent did it or whatever when they're growing up.
Do you like turkey, or you?
I'm a fan of turkey. I like turkey sandwiches mostly. I like cranberry sauce. I kind of like stuffing, but I'm not going to make stuffing on this bird. Like,
I like stuffing when it's being cooked in the bird.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
what
whole
this.
thing about cooking it out of the bird that I'm not a big fan of.
No, I think cooking it in the bird is kind of the traditional way to do it, but I don't know.
Turns out better, moisture, more flavor.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a big Christmas dinner? Do the kids come home?
Yeah. all our kids will be back.
Nice.
So we'll have a full house. All their respective partners and stuff will be there. And my mom and her husband will be there.
Oh, fantastic.
And, so I think we're having maybe 12 to 14 people.
Oh, cool.
Thereabouts. I think my sister might be there.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it'll be a big one.
Yeah.
And we'll do turkey, maybe a ham as well, just because we like to double up sometimes.
Well, why not?
Have turkey and ham.
Yeah, I think that's a tradition too.
Is it?
Yeah, I think people have both.
Have you ever had a Christmas goose?
I've never had a Christmas goose.
No, me neither. I want one.
And that we might be going back into like the Pilgrims or something.
Yeah,
like,
that would be like the 1700s.
Yeah. Like, well, let's go hunt the goose.
I don't know if you have to hunt them or just grab them by the neck. And
well,
I think
are they flying or do you just grab them? And
I think you find one at the park and just
oh my God,
pick it up.
I think the natural geese came first, right? Like before the domesticated geese. Is there domesticated geese?
Well, there must
like swans, I guess.
Swans.
Now we're really getting into the
I wonder if you eat swans.
Flamingos. I'm sure people have.
Yeah.
But I would imagine the taste profiles being different based on activity levels or
have I ever told you about the pheasant that I cooked on Pender Island when I was like 19, 20 years old?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Like
you gulped this one. Okay,
yeah,
so here's a quick little story. I'm 19 years old on Pender Island. I'm a cook, and we're hanging out, me and some friends, and we take a bunch of mushrooms. So we're high as a kite. We're running through like all of Pender Island. We're just running because it's a beautiful night. The moon's out. It's full. We're jumping over fences. And this one guy I was with, Ty, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
We all leaped over a fence, and he leaped over the fence, and he kind of fell, and he fell right on a pheasant. And he's like, look what I got. And we're like, awesome. I'm
like, did he killed it?
Well, he landed right on it, right? So we take it back to the cabin, and we cook it up at like 2 a.m. We're cooking.
Did the pheasant like scream?
No, it didn't scream.
Was the pheasant already dead when he landed on it?
Maybe could be.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So we cook it, and we're all still pretty not with it, right?
Yeah.
And we wake everyone else up in the house because we're loud and cooking this beautiful pheasant. And we go to start eating it, and I don't know why we didn't know this before. I guess because we're dumb.
Yeah, high.
We open it up, and it's just like black in the inside. It was already dead.
Yeah, for like,
God knows how
exactly.
long. It was the dumbest thing maybe I've ever done in my life.
And you plucked the feathers off of it too?
Yeah, someone did. I don't remember plucking the feathers off, but someone obviously did because we didn't. Maybe we cooked it with the feathers on. I don't even know.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, that was one experience I don't want to repeat.
No.
And it's turned me off eating pheasant ever since.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever had an opportunity to eat pheasant.
Well, and you wouldn't eat pheasant that wasn't killed fresh, I guess, or at least.
No, probably not.
Probably
not. But Ty was sure that he killed it.
Oh my goodness.
He was so hilarious. Proud.
But without one word coming out of the pheasant.
Well, you would.
Or flying away or anything.
He's a big guy. So when he landed on this pheasant, he probably smothered any sound that would have come out of it if it had squawked. But the only squawking was us afterwards, like almost throwing up.
Oh my goodness.
Just
okay, that's a horrible story.
I know. I don't know.
Merry Christmas season greetings, everybody.
Everyone gets pheasant for Christmas this year.
What as far as your business went this past year, obviously there were some changes.
Yeah, there was some some good changes, some interesting changes.
What is your overall take on where you sit now versus, the process going through that?
I think compared to last year, I feel better about where I'm at.
Yeah.
We're smaller as a business now. I'm down a cafe, but I'm up a cafe, really.
Right.
I'm not really down one. I just closed one and put more effort and more focus and attention on the cafe I have.
Yeah.
And the coffee roastery is doing really well.
Did you notice a volume change when you shut the cafe down? Obviously, you lose.
I mean, I closed the one at the museum because it didn't have the volume that I wanted.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the same amount of customers as it used to.
Yeah.
And that's been happening for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Just the customer the customers just aren't coming to the museum these days, or they hadn't. And then when the strike happened, there was no one, obviously, and just couldn't do that. So it was a blessing in disguise having to close it. It really put me more in the driver's seat. It felt like I was doing too much, maybe, and not understanding that.
Well, I think it's tough when you consider the decision to decide to close is always an emotional one, and it does impact your revenue, your top line, as far as how much you're selling.
Yep.
But I think it really clears up a lot of your costs and all that stuff that you feel over time. But maybe initially you're like, oh, now instead of doing 100K, we did 80K or 70K or whatever the monthly nut is, like the top line nut. But thinning out your staff, like creating some focus for yourself and the team, I think is good, because you've kind of poured yourself into the core business, which is going to help that business out, which is going to actually probably in the end of the day give you more time, which is valuable.
It is.
And then more money, because you're going to net out more, because that business will be doing more and your focus and your team is shrunk and you're not taking that revenue or that profit and covering losses somewhere else.
Which is what I was doing for a couple of years there. Felt like.
Well, and I think it's funny because, you know, I held on to our Nanaimo store for way too long, because Nanaimo was speaking to us about it. And obviously when you start a business, you view it, or enter a new area, you view it as, you know, while you're bringing all of your current customers and your current marketing strategy you've had for 12 years or whatever it was at the time, 10 years. And you know that you're already going to be ahead of the game versus starting fresh. But, you know, over a year or 2 years or 3 years, you're wanting to see some progress in a new market, where you're going to be creating some loyal customers. You're going to be introducing your product to new people. They're going to spread the word. And if you don't have that level of excitement in the community you're in, I don't know how you can just manufacture it, you know?
Marketing.
But then how much
spend so much money on that.
And then how do you measure whether it's effective or not? I think you have to do it anyways, you know, so I think controlling your expenses, like if it's a manageable kind of loss or manageable expense number, then you can. So if we're losing 20 grand a month in our Nanaimo store, which was what we were losing, but now we moved to Courtenay and we're only a year in, and we're doing kind of similar numbers to where we finished off in Nanaimo after 4 years. So that's a bit encouraging, and our cost base is lower. So we're not losing 20, but maybe we're losing 10 or 12 or 13. Even as a business, I'm like, oh, well, all of our other stores are making up for that. But when do I pull the pin on that? Or when, you know, like we're doing marketing, we're doing promotion, but it's really hard to measure. So you feel like you're doing what you need to do, but maybe you're not doing enough. And then your product is wicked. You're happy with everything that's being executed. So at what point do you say to the community, hey guys, like we're here, you want to help support us? Otherwise we won't be here.
Otherwise we're going.
Yeah. And maybe they don't care. You know, like we've had people comment about our Nanaimo closure where they were upset and sad that we left. But, you know, as a business guy, I'm like, okay, well, my heart is in every business I open, but at what point do I need to think with my brain? And then those resources that I'm deploying there, and, you know, it's senior leadership team mind, you know, our organizational, you know, how much energy that is applied there versus, okay, well, that's not working out. You know, how quick do the big guys decide to close or navigate? Like, what is the time horizon they leave? And
well, that might be an unfair question to ask because they have so much more capital behind them, so much more of a cushion.
Well, they have way more stores to spread over the weak ones. I think you're always going to have weak ones. There's brand sort of recognition ability too. Like if you're building a brand, like even then, arguably, you know, if we're talking about building an island brand, you know, staying in Nanaimo and staying in these populations that should be able to support one store, and then just riding it out until, you know, demographics switch or whatever. is maybe the right thing. I don't know what the right thing to do is, because it hurts my soul that more people don't want to love my product.
Aww.
You know, I'm like,
and then you're expected to make hard choices with your brain.
Yeah.
But your heart is always there.
Yes.
Right. So how do you differentiate between doing what you know you have to do with your head and doing what you want to do with your heart? And is there ever a time where you can do both or choose one over the other?
Yeah, I think, it's a very interesting question. I think there's, it goes down to motivation and intent. Like what is my intention with this business? What is my motivation for wanting to accept a market that isn't performing well when the other markets are performing well? The other stores are, and you always have that baseline. Okay, when I opened this store, what was the trajectory and how did it go and where are we at? And they've all, other than an IMO, that was the first one where it was just like, okay. And we opened it during COVID. So then is it because of COVID or is it because of our marketing strategy? Is it because of who we are as operators? Did we not do a good job executing? So you ask yourself all these questions, and I think you go through that list. At the end of the day, not every business can afford to absorb losses. So then you're okay, but there's always damage, like our growth potential. So we have less resources to open up in Vancouver if we wanted to do that, or maybe we want a Sydney location or whatever, or maybe you just should be happy with what you've got and just stick to that bit of it. And then, but then that's where your heart comes in, because I'd like to spread as much of the big wheel sort of philosophy around, because I think we're doing some good things. We provide a bunch of money to charities, and I like where our model is, and I think our product's good, and we invested in the look and feel. So why wouldn't I want to bring that to more people? But then you're like, well, if people don't want it in certain markets, then, trying to figure out what market will work, because you can only make so many mistakes.
Yeah, you can only open and close so many.
Yeah, and
you can't open
we only
anymore.
have 5 stores, so if we keep going, like we close one and open one, we're only going to be over 5, but we're churning over these resources that.
And that's so expensive.
Yeah.
Just doing that rinse and repeat. So did you close your Nanaimo store this last year? Like, was it in this year or was it?
No, it was the year before.
Okay.
So we opened Courtenay in October of 2024. Okay. So we closed Nanaimo in September. So there was like a 3-week gap between the stores being open. So from a standpoint of our sort of corporate objectives, we hit our numbers and it just rolled into Courtenay, and, our sales have kind of grown a little bit, but overall as a corporation, it's kind of just absorbed into it. But when you break it down to individual stores and individual profitability or what your goals are, and then what volume you're doing, if our average store does 1,000 to 1,200 people a week, and that store is doing 300 to 400, and like, when do you start seeing the heartbeat? Like, there's a pulse, but when is it actually beating? Like, okay, now we're getting some momentum.
Yeah.
So, and you can look at your average check and you go, okay, well, our average check is up there, higher there for whatever reason. But, so then it even makes it worse, because if your average check is higher, then it's really about number of people that you're getting into the store, and then your repeat customers. Like, I know the product we're serving is good, but then is there other roadblock? Is it the location? Is it like all these other things that you may or may not be able to control?
I think the location is so important. I mean, they do say it's the top 3 things, right? But who do you look to when you're looking for a location? Do you have people that you ask about, like, where should we put this, or do you go by where your customers are asking, or is it you that just sees an opportunity and says that might work?
Well, I think it's a combination. For me, historically, it's just about looking for those kind of like cheap opportunities, and I think that's not the correct way to go about it. I think looking for that money that's already been spent in leasehold improvements that kind of can match up with your concept, so that you can save, in the washrooms and some of the kitchen stuff and the layout and maybe even the tile on the ground, like all those little things you save help, because you don't want to take on too much debt. But I honestly think if you're trying to mirror where your best locations are, you have to either buy a good location or you have to invest more money in a better location per square foot, or be prepared to rebuild your brand from scratch in a shell. And then that's the shell you're choosing. I think it really depends on how much capital you have, but yeah, I think we've been successful doing it always, but I think the biggest challenge we have is just getting out of our own way on the cheapness. Like I can see, putting, lipstick on a pig, and you're thinking, okay, that pig, we can make that pig work. And I think we get there. Our brand kind of draws people. So, but you can also lose sight of what really is happening with your brand too. Like as far as, is it really drawing people, or,
and is it going to draw the same amount of people in this new community that it does in an established community?
That's right. And what's the growth potential? So we've cleaned up our process for selecting locations. I think we've been lucky with the locations we've gotten, other than the ones we made mistakes on, Nanaimo and probably Courtenay to some degree. I don't want to say it's a mistake yet, but it's just a slower market. So I think we've been okay, but as we've kind of looked in other markets, they're through our Uber, they have a whole data set that they look for where people are actually ordering food.
Yeah.
That fits in your profile. So that's another
interesting way to get the information.
Yeah. So they have they have all these areas mapped out. And so they there's a lot of data that they obviously are incentivized to share with you because they want you to grow. Yeah. It means they grow. And then the realtors also, do a whole analysis, traffic patterns and demographics and, what strategic plans for different communities. Like in Vancouver, you may be thinking, West 4th or something is a really hot area, which it is. And maybe it's near Kitts Beach, which is kind of cool. But maybe the demographics are changing. Like Kitts Beach is kind of like, maybe it's dirty, or maybe people aren't going there as often. And maybe people aren't supporting, quick service restaurants. They're going to full service restaurants or something in that area, where you go out to Tri-Cities like Coquitlam, Port Moody and that area, and you see all this expansive growth and people are commuting and, but then, okay, they're commuting. So they ordering, like, how does that change their purchasing pattern? But so we're looking at that analysis, but at the end of the day, when you're going down to look at these sites, you're like, okay, the data says there's, 200,000 people within 5 kilometers. That should be enough. The data says we need 50, like our own internal data based on where we are says we need 50,000 people in, a 3 kilometer range or area that should be able to support one store. Like, so if we break up, we've got 4 stores in Victoria and the surrounding area. So you look at the pockets of pools and you can surmise some patterns, right? But when you're in a different market, like I don't spend a lot of time in Vancouver. Over the years I think I understand the market, but you go there and you're like, okay, well, the data should support this location working out. But you, instead of spending 500,000 on the island, you're spending $1 million to $1.2 million.
Is it that much more?
Yeah. Well, this, like where our average rent might be $30 a square foot here on the island, our average rent there would be $100 a square foot. Doesn't matter where you are.
Really? It's that much more, right?
Yeah. So, or $80 a square foot or something like this.
Is that just because they expect you to do better because of population?
Well, no. It's partly that. Well, the economy supports itself. So if people aren't buying, people can't charge.
Then they will come
it regulates. So the land values are so much more expensive in Vancouver. Like for commercial real estate in downtown Vancouver, for example, is different than commercial real estate in Victoria for value wise. And just like residential is different too. So I think Victoria and the islands caught up a little bit. But I still think that it's cheaper to have existing property and leases than new construction because of the escalation in the price to build.
Yeah,
so then all of a sudden,
labor, all that. Right?
So then they're like, we were looking at building a building in Courtenay and we would have had to charge ourselves $40 a square foot. which really would have put us behind the 8 ball based on where our volume of sales are. You know, maybe a new building would have impacted it better. I don't know. Or I don't know if there's other things that could have influenced it, but we're paying, I don't know, $13 a square foot in an existing building. So there's a disconnect. So if you go to a new building in Vancouver, like they're not going to be charging, you know, $60 a square foot. They're going to be charging the top market, right? So then all of a sudden now you really have to hit a home run out of the gate because you're going to be screwed. But if you're in the right spot, you should have the traffic.
Yeah. It must be challenging, and it kind of sounds like it would be, to have a business like yours. It's really a Victoria based, but it's spreading out to new communities like that. Is part of the challenge that you just can't be in all those places at once.
No,
and really get a good handle on it.
No, I think if your business is structured well and you've got all the systems in place and you've got good managers and a good training protocol, I think you can do it. Like, I don't think I think the culture is translated well.
And the culture of your brand translates.
I think so. Like, but then that also might be my ego talking, or, you know, like, it's a very interesting question because, you know, is it the market or is it how we've executed in the market? Is that our problem?
Or is there not a connection between the brand and the market? Because
like what made
nothing
us
that you're doing. It could just
I mean, it could just be where we plopped our spot, and like, I don't know. Like, it's a very good question, but if patterns repeat itself, so this will be our second out of Victoria area. And there is a geographic challenge. There's more costs in it because when we have to go up and train a manager, it's costing us more to do that overhead wise, because you have to put somebody up in Courtney and that kind of stuff. And then if we run out of food and we got to actually deliver food up there ourselves, which we do sometimes in our van, that's an extra expense. Yeah. So there is that built-in cost. But if we are doing sales, which we should do, like just kind of base level, big wheel expectations, then that should all be covered. You know, like those extra expenses are offset by how lower our rent is there. For example, like our rent up there is half what our rent is here. You know, the operating costs are the same. It's attractive really because you know, you have that built-in buffer where, you know, if it's $3,000 or $4,000 a month cheaper, that's $50K a year. That's, you need to do, you know, $500K or $600K in sales to cover that, to make $50K. Yeah. So those are important details, but are we doing this out of like just like our own desire to be successful when the customers aren't demanding it and we don't fit in their demo? Like, you know, are we too woke of a business or too, you know, free? Like, we, you know, have a charity charge and we do the climate action stuff and we're, you know, wanting to be a part of the community, but does that community just like, I just want a good price on a burger? You know, like maybe they're more price sensitive or don't care about that stuff. Or maybe it's a detraction for them because they're like, oh, you're trying to tell me how to live my life, or you're doing these causes that are outside of making a burger.
Or maybe all that work that you've done in the past to build up those programs and make them acceptable to your Victoria audience, maybe that doesn't translate immediately, and you have to start from scratch with the education and really pushing why you're doing your
and then how are you communicating that well? Like, you think you say stuff in social media, but the audience is, there's still a whole crew of people that don't even interact with social media the way others do. And I'm glad they shouldn't. But how do you get the message out there? And then how do you do the proper self-analysis to determine whether it's you, is it me or you? Like, it's not me, it's you. You know, like it's I think it might be us. Like, I'm thinking, oh, we're the problem here, not the community. Like, I think we're bringing something to them maybe too early. Maybe it's not the right location or whatever. And or maybe we're just not investing enough in promoting. But we're doing way more than we do down here. But
see, I in the past have had opportunities to open up in other communities,
Yeah.
including Vancouver. And I really thought about the Vancouver one because I really thought, wow, all those new customers, and what a great place to tap into for the kind of coffee that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, I've got a name and a brand in Victoria that if I opened up other cafes in Victoria, I kind of know what they would do because I know who's coming to them.
Yeah.
But if I move it to Vancouver, I can't expect anyone to know what
2% Jazz is. Yeah, who you are, what you've
just
done.
another coffee shop and a long list of them.
Yeah.
Right? So I've always been a little bit put off by moving out of Victoria just for that reason, not thinking, I can do it anyway. I don't have the capital behind me to just go open up stores in other towns anyway, really.
Well, and the thing,
I often think, well, they probably wouldn't do what my expectations of them would do because it's not my town.
Yeah.
You know, that's
with so many things that can go wrong that you don't understand. So you create more kind of questions in your brain about it, because there's things that I don't question in Victoria because I know the market.
Yeah.
Like I know, this won't work here, that won't work there. Oh yeah, it's working here for this reason. Easy to understand.
Even in different locations in Victoria, you can kind of fine tune your process.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And what our offerings are, and there's way more understanding. So you go to Vancouver, and even if you look at the demographic part of it, there's cultural stuff, like, you know, what is the predominant heritage of the people that are in the surrounding? Do they even eat burgers?
Yeah.
Or do you have to be halal because they're, you know, a lot of them are Muslim and they need halal, or what, you know, all these different things that you would only know if you live in the community.
Sure.
And you can be told, and, you know, on the paper, but when you're investing all the money, then what are you trying to achieve yourself? You know, like if I had a driving desire to have like a McDonald's where I need to grow to like 200 or whatever, I don't. So, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And I think I tell myself I'm doing it because if the team wants to do it, I want to grow, and, you know, I want to give other people opportunities to kind of move up in the company, and I don't want to restrict the team, you know, because I'm not really doing this for money, even though we are, but there's no attachment for me to go, oh, okay, I need to make more money, or I need to, or I want to buy a house, or I want, you know, I just want this. I think we have a cool concept. We've invested money in it. We've invested in the team. We've got a good team. And I'd rather than losing them because they're bored running a 5-store chain, and also to see for my own personal, you know, desire to see whether the brand can do something in Vancouver.
Yeah, you want your kids to grow up.
Yeah, it's like, I want them to do well. Oh, you're going to Vancouver? Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, so, and I don't have children, so I guess there's that component of it.
You've got 5 children.
I do have 5 children.
Yeah,
or 6, including Zambries.
Yeah, right.
And so, yeah, I think all those things kind of play a part in it. But I also think in the journey of what we're doing, like, it's fine making a choice to stay on the island and being an island brand, but we can't grow on the island anywhere because we're trying and we've been pushed back, right? So the only markets that are big enough that can support us, we've been in and we are in. So I guess we could maybe go to Sydney, but then it's like, well, okay, then what is the goal? Why Sydney? Does that market, you know, could it afford it? Is there enough traffic? Does it cut away from your gateway location? Are people picking up? I know we've got demand out there, but do you invest 500 grand or 600 grand or 700 grand in opening a store there? Or do you just say, I'm going to do 1.5 million in Vancouver and just try to build that out? Because that one store can do 6 to 8 million just by itself in the area.
And once it has a firm grip in Vancouver, then you
can start maybe looking at the expansion component of it, where it becomes a lot easier. And then you have a team there that does it, and doesn't really necessarily add more work to myself. But I also I can't afford to make any more mistakes based at my age, you know, like, because I don't have the energy to freaking clean it up. You know,
I hear you on that. You know I was thinking about that too lately. It's like, okay, I'm getting too old to think about new stores. Not that we're old, but I certainly don't have the same energy that I used to.
No, and I think we've all aged
rabbits, right? Like,
more than we realized through the COVID experience and just these challenges. And I think, those external stresses about the global climate and where we are. I think that is a hidden stress that we underappreciate for ourselves. And I think we need to recognize that those are stresses.
Yeah, there's a real tense current running through everyone, right?
And uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, you can't help but be a little bit paralyzed on trying to make decisions. Or even I have an idea. I can imagine if you're a kid trying to figure out what career to go in, or you're like, well, what is it going to be in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, right.
What's going to be the technology? And you look at this AI stuff, and you're like, okay, well,
so I'm not going to be a computer programmer.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a writer,
lawyer.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be all the things that Chat GPT is going to
take over. And then it's like, okay, well, is it going to take over because it's a data problem? So the enormous data that's required and back end systems to support that requires intense amounts of water and impact on the environment, and neighborhoods don't want it. And then how do those AI companies become profitable when they're just really spitting out, they're spending a lot of energy on comedic relief with, videos and, all this AI applications. And then the actual fundamental stuff is probably fairly data low, like as far as scrolling the internet for, the best ideas on how to build a business plan or do your resume or write a letter or whatever. I don't think that data is probably as intensive as the higher impact stuff, but it doesn't make sense.
I was at my doctor's a couple of weeks ago, and he was looking at what kind of antibiotic I should be on, right? Because we had tried a couple others, and he Chat GPT'd it right in front of me, and he got his answer and then wrote the prescription accordingly. It's like, oh my God, I don't like this at all. Like, there should be no way that your doctor does that in front of you. Maybe in a back room trying to figure it out, and it's good for ideas to prompt him to think on his own maybe, but to just get the answer and then write the prescription from the answer that he got from Chat GPT was a little concerning to me.
Well, and the verification process, because how accurate is it? Right. And then, there's lots of
bot. It's not just an AI. It's not AI. It's not artificial intelligence. It's a chat bot learning from every other Yahoo on the internet and what they've said. So,
in this day and age of misinformation and data deletion and misinterpretation, and it's an interesting time because it's hard to plan for that kind of stuff. So when you're forward looking on your business, how do you make those decisions? Like, how do you say, oh, girl, like I personally have views of what's going to happen in the next year or two.
Yeah.
And I think I was fairly accurate on where we've arrived. So I'm like, okay, well, based on my history, I feel like there's probably a better than 50 or 60% chance of what I think is actually going to happen. So if that happens, so am I planning my business planning based on that? Or am I just saying, hey, I'm in business, these are the fundamentals, and this is what I'm going to do, and just ignore, the global risk of being annexed by the United States, or, having Russia basically create a broader war with Europe over what they're doing. Like, all of that stuff is going to impact everything. And so, do you just sit and wait? But waiting is not a really good business plan, or maybe it is. I don't know. What do you think?
It depends on what you were going to do in preparation for something that hasn't happened yet. I think you can be prepared, and you can
build bomb shelters.
Right?
Okay, that might be overkill.
And they're not going to help you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a bomb shelter is not going to help you, and it's not going to help your business.
No, exactly. Plus, who wants to live in a bomb shelter?
Right? I wouldn't
There's
like
the other thing,
for a burger in a bomb shelter, though.
I guess,
that'd be kind of cool.
as a novelty.
Yeah, totally as a novelty.
Maybe who knows? You think about the history and looking back to what's happened throughout it. There's always been these huge pivot points in history, and I feel like we're on one. Like the global alignment is changing, and it's not unlike, the fall of the Roman Empire, the fall of the British Empire, the fall of the, Persian Empire, all these different empires that have come and gone. They all fall.
So why is ours any different?
Yeah. And this is, I think we're in, I don't know, a lot,
It's kind of rough when you think about every person dies, every culture changes, and every civilization comes and goes.
Yeah, no, it does. And you think about the timeline of it. Like I think we as humans also don't understand how insignificant our timeline is in the history.
Right.
And you can find yourself in these interesting points just by pure coincidence, but even if you think of like climate change in the context of, well, the climate's always changed, right? So, and I think those are the arguments, from the science. It's just like, well, climate's always changed, and carbon is only X percent of the chemical composition of the air and all that stuff. And then, but when you consider that those climate changes happened over hundreds of thousands of years, and then try to connect it to, we're impacting this now. We've been industrial for 120 years.
Yeah.
And we've caused that much change to the climate in that 120 years. It's really, that's kind of what I think the argument is like it's happening 12 times as fast as it's ever happened before. Right. So we can't really conceptualize 100,000 years or 20,000 years or 10,000 years or 2,000 or 1,000 years. 1,000 a little bit easier, but we're 10% of that.
Yeah, that's still really difficult to comprehend in our little.
So it's easy to just go,
year minds.
Yeah, whatever. Let's not worry about it. But if it is really happening that quickly, what we're looking at, what we consider today or what we did in the last 10 years or 20 years is already different. We've already had to make adjustments on what we're purchasing and where we're traveling and all that due to climate action. Well, that being in the coffee business too, and where that's all gone. And, you've got these droughts, and droughts have happened before. Yes, but they've happened over
cyclical, right?
Long, long periods of time. So, we may be in this cycle of environmental impact for the next 100 years, 200 years. I don't know. But, for me today, what am I doing for my planning of next year or 2 years or 3 years, or even what I want to do? Like there's a different mindset than say 20 years ago or 10 years ago when we were starting. We're just like, we're trying to grow our business. Right. There wasn't that existential sort of consideration of, what world are we going to be living in 5 years?
Well, I think that if you and I were really planning on a new environment in the future, based on what we've been told over the last couple of decades about the change and what's causing it, we wouldn't be supporting a coffee industry. We wouldn't be supporting a cow or a
clothing industry
right? Like we wouldn't be doing
what we're doing.
Looking for alternatives. Like I'd be looking at a chicory farm, or you'd be looking at tofu farm. I don't know,
or mealworms, or
or crickets. Yeah. But we're not, and I think that thinking about the future in those terms, I think those are extreme reactions.
Yeah.
That if you were prudent, they might pay off one day, but if you're wrong, then
you've really screwed yourself, because now you're selling cricket burgers instead of,
and that's not what you love. Right? That's not why you got into the business.
Well, and that brings the humanity part of it. Is like, what kind of life do you want to live in, and what do you want to do in your day? Do you want to be sitting behind a computer going, oh my God, the world's coming down, or do you want to be like, hey, like, what is my community doing? And we're having a great dialogue and exchange of ideas here. We're going and breaking bread with our family at Christmas, and all these wonderful things that are so much more enriching than worrying about all the stuff that we can't control. I think it's important in business to worry about the things you can control, with an eye on what may change the dynamic and landscape. And part of that is understanding what government regulations are doing, what the market trends are doing, where you want to position your business relative to your competition. Like all those things are proper considerations, but I don't overweighting these things you can't control. Like I may have an opinion that the US is going to try to invade Canada or take it over. And opinion I may justify based on what they're actually saying and doing. So I think it's based on what's happening. I think it's a reasonable thing that's a real risk. But do I position my business to deal with that? No, I don't think you can.
I think we got closer to that this week. There was a call for changing the Canadian way of spelling things from the UK to the US version. So dropping the OUs in color and all those words, right? And I don't know. That's something I'm not into.
I didn't hear that.
I heard that it was a Carney thing. I think he was saying he wants
for what purpose?
To streamline the takeover. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, then you're also doing security deals with Europe, and you're looking at changing your supply chains so it doesn't become dependent on the United States. So I think part of that too is like what is true and what is not true, and what serves us and what doesn't serve us.
Just crossed my algorithm. I didn't look into it.
Yeah, well, this is it. Well, depending on where your algorithm is taking you, it's going to be predicated on what your biases are, because that's how you've scrolled, and then it bakes it in, then wants to keep you active.
Yeah.
So I think question everything, but try not to make your day-to-day business decisions based on that information until there's more solidification and more data points. Because if you think about what's happening with the economy, your business is going to tell you. So you're going to have some advanced awareness. Like if you think interest rates are going to go up, that's going to impact your costs.
Right.
And if the cost of living is increasing, then people aren't going to have as much money to spend. So people are more price sensitive. So all those are all basic, normal business thoughts and choices and decisions. But try not to bring in all that. And I say that's when I do bring in these thoughts, and I think about it, I talk about it, I have conversations about the global world we live in because I'm interested in it.
Well, we're part of it.
And we're part of it.
We're trying to navigate it.
And we're trying to navigate it. And as leaders, I think you can get involved in it in any way you want. But if your moral compass is telling you to be more vocal about it or raise some alarms, then you should actually do it. Because if you don't do it and people can't benefit from that alarm or that at least thinking about it, then people aren't prepared for the worst outcomes. The good outcomes are always good. You don't need to worry about those.
You don't have to prepare for those.
You don't prepare for that. That's just like, yay, party, yeah. But if you're thinking about it or you're understanding, hey, this is happening, or this, you start putting pieces together, then you're like, okay, like I should consider this in my decision-making process, especially when you go the 2, 3, 5 years out, because who knows what the world's going to be like, but we can't control any of that. It's like COVID. You can't control it.
Yeah.
So you're just like, even if you're like unhappy with what the government's saying for you to do or how they've managed it, it's really out of your control. But you can have your opinions and you can, measure, and those are all those moral decisions of like, hey, this is how I'm going to deal with it because this is how I view it.
Well, didn't Bill Gates come out this year and say that we're too concerned, we're too overly concerned about what's happening with our global climate change? And didn't he?
Possibly, yeah.
Which kind of makes me think of like over planning and being too concerned.
Well, it's like not 9/11, Y2K, the 2000, the trillions of dollars they spent on this that was a nothing burger.
Yeah,
and I don't believe that the climate change is a nothing burger. I think decarbonization is just smart, and I think it's actually proving to be. From a global perspective, if you remove oil and, pretty much any country can be self-reliant or self-sufficient on clean energy sources, providing the baseload power, and what they're doing can support it. But it's proving that it can, I believe.
Well, if
like solar and wind,
Iceland,
they're
pretty self-sufficient.
Well, some of these grids are actually coming completely off of fossil fuels, which I think is exciting. Because now all of a sudden you don't have these actors that are controlling you. Like imagine if your whole economy is reliant on oil from Canada, for example, or oil from the United States, or oil from Russia. And then all of a sudden now you're like, okay, well, if you don't do dance to my tune, I'm going to screw with your economy, and your quality of life is going to drop. I mean, our whole goal should be trying to make life better for everybody as humans.
Yeah.
So those that are luckier than others, they should be helping the ones that are less fortunate. And that's the world I want to live in.
Well, that's what I want for 2026.
Yeah. I want the community, and I think as we wrap up our podcast, I think setting those, goals and talking about it over next year would be good to see where we're at with, how are we doing as a community? Like, are we coming together? Are we having honest discussions? Are we being gaslit?
Are we anxious? Are we nervous? Are we positive?
Yeah.
Are we confident?
Yeah.
Those are things to really look for next year.
And I think if you start in your own community, then it builds up from there. And then you're also able to recognize things that do work. Mm-hmm. And even for your own peace of mind, like getting off social media and getting off the algorithm and just switching it up and actually having a conversation. Like I've had a couple conversations last year that changed my views on certain topics. And I really felt happy that there was enough openness and space given to the people that educated me on these, and that I was, they gave me the space to absorb my kind of like bias. Yeah. And then I gave them the space to have time to explain to me what their perspective was so that I could actually understand it. I don't necessarily need to agree with it.
No, you don't have to agree.
But I'd like to understand it, because I think through conversation, if it's articulated in the right way, that removes, some bias or judgment.
Well, and understanding other people's perspective, even if you don't agree with them, helps you make your decisions more confidently.
Totally. And then it actually exposes you to ideas that you didn't consider, which will then make whatever decisions you make better. Yep. Because that will be just add another tool in your toolbox, whether you decide to use it, implement it or not, or even agree with it. You're like, oh, okay, I get that. So whoever's impacted by the decisions I make may be thinking those same things. So how do I address it in my when I'm rolling out of whatever plan I'm doing or ideas? Like, should I be considering that? I should, because, I'd never considered that,
It's one more tool in your toolbox.
Well, and it's interesting because you have good intentions. We just rolled out, a quasi, like a kind of a bonus kind of structure, but it was more of a reward for our some of our senior staff.
Oh, yeah, who have been there.
Yeah, being there, but also
longevity.
Longevity, part of it, also impact on the profitability of the store. And, we had a better year last year as far as not anywhere we need to be, but we stabilized. We kind of got our costs under control. So we stopped some bleeding, and now we're kind of building off of that. So I wanted to give some back. But then even then it's like, well, is this linked to my performance? Or is this like all this confusion, unintended consequences? And I'm like, I never really considered that. Oh, and we structured it this way. Oh, yeah, that was kind of a mistake. So we're getting some blowback with the first people that we've introduced it to. And I'm like, man, I just wanted to give you guys some more money. And then I'm like, oh, wow. So it could be a motivator or demotivator, how it's presented. But that's also about understanding. So through the journey, but also being okay, not beating myself up about it. And also saying, hey, we screwed up. Like we didn't really consider this properly before implementing it. Yeah. So thank you for your opinions. Let's make this better together. And
I'll take that money back. I'll take that bonus back.
Well, no, but I guess we got to put more money on it. I don't know. Like we got to figure out, because I don't want anything to be a demotivator, but man, it's just like freaking challenging, man.
It is. You know what I was thinking before we wrap up, because I know we're trying to keep these to an hour or 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, we did that
or whatever.
Whatever.
But thinking back over this last year in the podcast, there was a real highlight for me, and that was our trip to Cook Camp.
Yes, I agree.
That was one of the best things I've done all year.
Yeah, I agree.
It was so great.
Well, it was just nice to interact with, like-minded, but professionals that are trying to make our industry better.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that working on those things, I think, and with others, because there is no unique experience when you're in the hospitality or restaurant business. Everybody's doing the exact same thing, suffering the same way, working the same way, dealing with the same challenges. And I think the biggest thing about working in an industry is you think that you're unique, or what you bring to the table is either unique positively or unique negatively, and you don't know what you don't know. But then when you start talking and sharing, and that's what the beauty of the Bread and Butter Collective is like, you've got a person you can say, hey, did this happen to you? Or this is what I'm going through. How did you deal with it? And you're like, oh yeah, that happened to me. And then you're like, then I don't feel alone anymore. Right. And I also don't feel stupid. Because I mean, I think I'm smart operator, but I'm like, man,
why does this?
Yeah, and it just keeps happening, you know. And I'm like, oh God. So is it me? Is it you? Is it, you know? It's not me. It's you. You know,
it's everyone,
and it's everything, and just sort of, you know, being okay with that without beating yourself up about it, I think is what I'd like to do for next year. And then just try to build and also lower your freaking expectations, man. Like, things don't have to happen tomorrow, right? And sometimes forcing things to happen too quick has its own, you know, unintended consequences. And you think, oh, I'm going to save this and this, or I'm going to implement this system, which will be great. And then all of a sudden, why are we doing this? And then the system doesn't really work. And then you just wasted all this energy for nothing, and money. Like, just keep it simple, stupid. You're selling coffee. We're selling burgers. Like, just
doesn't have to be.
Just give a good burger, good value. You know, be fair to yourself, fair to your customers.
It's not complicated
fair to your
unless you make it so.
You always do, and that's the human, and that's what happens. And this is what's going on in the world: is these people are bored, you know, because there's been this long period of stability, you know, of ease, because all the norms are just applied. Oh, you know, you're gonna do this, and this country's gonna do that, and oh, this is good, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, there's a rift. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't assume anything is good anymore. So what can I assume? Oh, well, I can assume I'm in control of what I'm in control of: my house, my work, my town, and just focus on that. I think for next year would be really good.
I want to start to focus on my everyday.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing next year. Well, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, we're doing it in the moment.
Yeah, focusing on who we are, where we are, and what we're doing here.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, not thinking too far ahead.
No,
for me is important.
I think for peace of mind,
looking back.
No, and you can't. Yeah, you can't. You can't live in regret.
No,
you just gotta try to learn from it and make better decisions, which I think is obvious to most people. But in execution, it's really easy to beat yourself up.
Yeah, it's easy to get sidetracked and forget.
Oh, and your self-esteem over stuff too. Like, I deal with that as well. I'm like, oh man, maybe I'm, you know. But I think if you're looking at a mirror instead of looking at a picture, you know, then, you know, you're not fantasizing about what could be. You're actually looking at yourself going, hey, maybe I need to look internally and figure it out before I project or have this idea of myself that isn't real. And then also overcomplicate stuff by over manipulating decisions or trying to do too much at once, and you end up flailing. Which I don't, you know, we don't want to flail.
I think we all have a tendency to make our lives more complicated than they need to
get out of your own way, man.
Yeah.
And just keep it simple.
Enjoy the life.
And then take a break when you need to take a break. Quit, you know, like, you need rest.
Boy, do I.
I'm going to go to sleep right now.
Well, what a great year.
It was awesome.
Have a great holiday season.
I will. And we'll be back in February with our new season of the Bread and Butter podcast.
Wow. A new one.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I don't know. It feels like we've been doing this a long time.
Was it that season 4 coming up?
No, I think 6 or 7 or something. Or 8.
No. Depends on how you
you break up the season.
Yeah.
So we do 20. We're supposed to do 24 episodes a season, but we've done a lot of some less, some more, and crossed over.
Yeah.
So I think season 5 or season 6. We started this in 2020.
Well, here's to doing the better job all the time.
Better job, having good conversations.
Yeah.
Not being afraid of the hard truth. You know, sometimes you got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, and then also be realistic about what your expectations are.
My expectations are to look in the mirror and just feel good.
My expectations, I got to do that, and also I've got to cook a turkey. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh yeah, yeah. make sure it's dead first.
It's dead.
Okay.
100%.
Good. All right. Well, you have a great one, Calen. It's always a pleasure.
It's awesome, Sam. Thank you for your partnership, your friendship. Remember to be real kind.
My pleasure. You be real nice.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, Bunny's Kitchen, Buzz Coffee House, Eagle-Ite, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Eva Schnitzel House, Farmsgate Foods and Catering, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Nikkei Ramen Ya, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Keating Pizza, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, The Nimble Bar Company, Ruth and Dean, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, Spoon's Diner, Truffles-Inspired Catering, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.